Welcome, everyone. This is Polly Needles, and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news on LOTRO and here at LOTRO Players. And this week we have with us Terry Adwin.
Hi.
Sanswinda.
Hello.
Guarendis.
Hello, everyone.
And Arendis.
Hey, everybody.
Hello, everyone. And this week we have some news to cover. Yay! We'll begin with Squirrel's little Week 15 Roundup, which is going over the things going on there. It says, no concrete news from the last few weeks, but a few soons have gotten the well, believe me, since he posted this, we've gotten some concrete news. So he posted this, I think, just before the concrete news came out. Bulwer preview for update 26 is expected to be up for a gander on week 16. That'd be next week. The executive producer's letter has gotten the last sign-offs, but of course, yes, since then that's been published in there. Let's see. Server transfers remain in the rather weeks than months list on when they'll be. We are still waiting for those. I'm sure a lot of people are anxiously waiting for that. And today, that is when he posted this, so that'd be about a little bit less than a week ago, the box rotation celebrated its 550th birthday. Why? I don't know why he kept track of that. And for the events till the 30th of April, remember that all content and lag remain free in LOTRO. We wish it was lag-free instead of free lag, right?
The lag is free for all.
Yes, the lag is free for all. Yes. And the Buried Treasure event is going to be starting on the 17th, so that'll be next week, not this weekend, but the next weekend. We'll have a Buried Treasure event, and then the week after that, we'll be starting the anniversary.
Which is super exciting because it's going to be my 8-year box.
Woo!
Woo!
It'll be my 12-year box. And let's see. And Squirrel also gives, of course, the April Fool's Roundup, which we went over all those last week. So let's get into the real news for this week, and that is the producer's letter for 2020. Greetings, I hope everyone is staying safe. Before looking ahead, he first took a look back at 2019. We ventured into the Anvil of Winterstead, explored historic sites in the Vales of Anduin, and brayed Minas Morgul itself with our expansions. The Stout Actors freed themselves from servitude of the Dark Masters, player virtues saw some changes, and we updated the Hobbit present system, and we completed the Black Book of Mordor storyline. And as we play through the recent 6-player content and Shelob's Lair, Sevlin wants to talk about the future events and releases that we're excited to present to players. Now I'm going to go through this paragraph by paragraph, and we'll discuss each paragraph in turn so that we don't forget everything when we get to the next item. Now that the virtue changes are in place and Minas Morgul expansion is behind us, we plan to update the legendary items in 2020. We know players want changes to how these items advance and to have more opportunity to improve their items in later content. We also are looking at more substantial changes for later on in the year. It is important to us that players feel that their progress in legendary items carries forward into the new system, and we are discussing design changes with that in mind. Now, in reading this, it sounds like then that they're planning on doing a couple of tweaks in the earlier parts of the year and then having the main change later on, or if I...
It could be. I guess we'll have to see.
Yeah, that's how it sounded to me. I don't know if anyone else is different. And
Yeah.
hello, Calabathian.
Hello.
I'm cautiously optimistic that there might be fewer days in Minas Tirith required, especially if some of the items are available at later game content, which would be nice.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking, is that maybe some of the updates they'll have in the next update will include some of those ways to expedite it so that you don't have to spend, how many days is it in Minas Tirith?
Way too many. Something like 44 now per item.
And that's if you're diligent.
That's
Right.
if you're
And
diligent.
don't go, oh dear God, do I have to do it again today?
Yeah. So that means that they are planning to do it in this year, but I think, didn't they plan to do it last year also?
Yes.
So that's the one reason why I'm not completely optimistic.
I really wish they'd at least add it as a vendor option for the scrolls and the crystals, because going all the way back to Minas Tirith is getting a little old.
Yeah. I think that they're probably going to at least get the new options in, probably for the next update, and give you additional options to it. Whether or not they get the full new system in place for later on in the year, that's the one which we'll see what happens.
Yep.
All right, anyone else have any comments, wishes, concerns? Nope, I guess not. Then our first update in the spring unveils a key theme to 2020, the war between the dwarves and the orcs.
Woo!
We will be debuting our new major storyline called The Legacy of Durin and the Trials of the Dwarves. This storyline will continue throughout the year as we weave towards 2021 and visit the ancient dwarf stronghold of Gundabad. The Legacy of Durin and the Trials of the Dwarves storylines will be free to all players. Yes. And our regular updates will both supplement the main story and tell their own tales. Our late spring update, called Mists of Wilderland, will take players to the Wells of Langford, where they will join Durin's line and begin the march to retake the Dwarflands. In addition, a small 12-player raid will be released in the fall.
Hopefully this content remains bear-free.
Well, I have a feeling that the stuff near Langflood might have a bear or two, but once we get to Gundabad, it should be bear-free, I would hope.
Fingers crossed.
Yes. Anyone else have any ideas or thoughts?
Actually, I'm kind of also hoping that it remains wizard-free, because they're nothing but trouble.
Okay. And anyone have any thoughts on how they handle El Dorado?
You think Gundabad is Dwarven El Dorado?
Well, I don't know if it is or if it's going to be woven into the storyline that we're looking for, or
maybe we'll find hints to Dwarven El Dorado when we get there, though.
Yeah, that's always a possibility. And we had that staff that we collected during the previous storyline.
Mm-hmm.
And we're wondering, how is that going to fit into? Because wasn't that supposed to be the key to finding El Dorado?
Maybe, sort of, kind of. It had something to do with the lost keep of Sephardical, but I don't actually remember the specifics of how that fits in.
Yeah. We can only hope that they
But maybe there will be something we can stick it in Gundabad that will give us clues.
Ha! Yes. There you go. But yes, dwarves.
I was
Yeah.
going to say in chat, Leonore was speculating that small 12-person raid sounds like something simple like The Watcher in the Water or Turtle and Moria.
Well, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, because 12-person raid isn't exactly a small raid, but yeah, like not super long the way the most recent raids have been.
Right. It's not going to be a multi-boss raid or anything like that.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple, maybe a room or two trash, or maybe not. And then, yes, very quickly getting to the boss fight is my
Like the
guess. And
Watcher
there's
and
going
the
to be one.
Turtle. Which
Yeah,
those
Watcher
are,
and the Turtle was a good possibility. Yeah.
those are good examples of little raids because they are raids, but and done at level, they can really mess you up if you're not careful.
Oh, yeah.
I speak from experience here. That's another one that my burglar spent thrashing in the water dead. I think she made it the full 30 seconds though before she went splat.
Yeah.
Not so much the turtle. Of the two, the turtle is the easier one to do.
Oh, yes, but back in the day when it was starting, the entire purpose of getting Moria gear, or at least the main purpose of it, of getting the raid gear in Moria, was so that you would, when I say the raid gear, I mean the gear you need in order to do the raid, was because of the high acid resistances in them.
Yeah.
Because, if you didn't have acid resistance when you're on level on the turtle, you were, yeah.
Oh yeah, you definitely have to watch your resistance, but it's nowhere near as challenging as the Watcher because the Watcher has like
Oh,
3
yeah.
different rounds and mechanics and stuff, and the turtle is more basically a simple tank and spank.
Yeah, I'm not too sure I've ever completed did I ever complete the Watcher, or did we come in there with obnoxiously overleveled characters one time and
I think
actually
Adventures
complete it?
did it over leveled.
Yeah, there's a possibility that we did it that way, but I certainly never have completed the Watcher fairly, shall we say.
I've done it. It's not fun, but I've done it.
You've done it, yeah. You need a lot of stamina in order to do it.
Still not as bad as the Rift. That's the one that requires stamina because it's a long raid with no breaks.
Oh, yes, the Rift. Now, it doesn't have any locks where you could get to a certain point, like to the giants, and then be able to come back the next day?
Well, you can come back the next day, but you're running your happy butt from the beginning of the raid.
Yeah, when I said come back the next day, I meant that if everybody had the same lock, that they wouldn't have to do that all
you could do that. But the reset times are so short that by the time you've got everybody together, you're looking at having to, because just running through the stupid thing takes you a good 20 to 30 minutes.
Yes, you do have a
running
point there.
through an empty rift to get where you were can take you anywhere from 20 to 30 to 45 minutes.
Yeah, now that I remember some of... Yes, my experiences with the Rift haven't exactly been...
That's a raid that could benefit from them just going back and putting flags in like they've got in the Abyss.
Ah. All right. Any other comments relating to the Legacy of Durin? And I assume now the question is: when they talk about Legacy of Durin, are they talking about the original Durin? Or are they talking about Durin, the king's son? Or are they talking about maybe him sort of becoming the seventh Durin, so to speak?
I think it could potentially be all of those things.
Yeah, all sort of combined. As for chopping up the riff as they did Fornos, I believe that's on the list of not
I'm
ever
pretty sure
likely to happen.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they've actually said that it's not going to happen. And I
Yeah.
don't know that it would necessarily even work. I think the way the raid is constructed, they kind of really can't without completely overhauling the thing, and nobody wants to overhaul the thing.
Yes. It would require quite an overhaul, I think, in order for it to happen.
But they could totally go in and do like the flag system, I would think, without tons of overhaul. Because it's not the same thing as chopping it up. You still
Yeah.
have the same distances and stuff to cover. You just can create some shortcuts. I just don't know that again, based on how old that code is, that may be just as difficult. Because I know Karn Doom and Urgarth are kind of in the same boat. Because Karn Doom is really long too. And
But at least Karn Doom has shortcuts. The keys.
Well, it does once you've unlocked the keys. But running it the first time,
Yeah.
Oh Lord, running it.
It's really long, and that's another one that can't really ever be broken up just because of the way it's constructed is so convoluted. So I don't. Yeah, so Karn Doom has the keys, which kind of shortcuts the process. So maybe if Rift has the same kind of code to it, they could add in flags to the system. And I'm totally digressing here, so I'll stop talking.
Yes. Then let's head into the next one. And now the first two things that we covered are things that they have, at least that they mentioned back at PAX. So here is the first really new item. In the early summer, we will see our first Challenge League, which is a new temporary server that allows players to fight each other for honor, with the defeated required to retreat to the battlefield, rally themselves, and move back into the world to continue the fight. The sons of Elrond, Elladan and Elrohir, have begun a discussion with perhaps too much pride and are arguing about which of them would make the greatest leader and support the greatest heroes. Take up the banner of either Elladan or Elrohir and venture forth to complete deeds and challenge heroes that align with your rival. Brave players will earn milestones for completing deeds, and those characters will appear in a special leaderboard. Will you rush to honor your patron by completing deeds, or will you spend your time challenging rivals? So it's a 1v1 PvP server or something?
I don't really know. I mean, it sounds interesting, and it also sounds like something I will never play.
Yes. I certainly don't see myself going around challenging people in PvP.
Man, if they could basically it's PvP 1-on-1 and you challenge someone with a fish slap, that would be great. Fish slap them out. I challenge you.
I mean, if it does end up being a 1v1, that would be really interesting, but I don't know if they're going to limit it to 1v1 or let people group up to gang up on each other.
Yes, because
the way it's worded, it could go either way.
But don't we already have that? It's called the Moors.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but this time you're challenging other freaks.
Well, yeah, and we basically have, and you've got the sparring system in the game, so freaks can actually challenge each other 1-on-1. So this basically it almost sounds like it's something where heroes can group up and challenge other heroes, which is basically a PvP thing, which is really why I have zero interest in it. But I can see that there are people who would find this kind of thing attractive.
The fight should be more fair than the Moors fight. I mean, one freak to 7 of us can still wipe us out easy. So,
my biggest takeaway from this is that it's a temporary server, so it's only going to be up for like a short length of time, so that people don't get like super focused on it. Right. So they've got to come up with some way or some mechanic for people to be on par with each other in the world without like tons of time to build themselves up, because it's only open for short periods of time.
I have a feeling that they might use a copy system similar to Bull Roar.
Maybe.
So you copy an existing character over to there, and that the challenge system might require that the person you challenge be within a certain number of levels or something like that. Or perhaps you could challenge someone who's a higher level than you, but challenging someone who's 5 levels below you or something like that won't be allowed.
Well, they're talking about completing deeds and in addition to the challenges. So,
yes.
And having like a special leader reward. So obviously there's some kind of reward for it, and I don't know if that's going to be like specific to the temporary server. Is it going to translate back to the regular servers? We will have to wait and see.
We'll have to see. Now, what they had done in DDO was that they had something. They actually had a hardcore server. Now, it wasn't PvP. But the idea is, if you died on that server, then you would. That would be it. Your character is gone. Your character is gone, and the idea there was to see how people survived in this. And I think they ran it for 3 months or something like that. And the idea was that, of course, no transfers into or out of the server until the end of it. Then you were allowed to transfer your character off the server, any characters you made on the hardcore server, to another server afterwards. So that was something there. And yes, I think the big thing there was see how many people could get up to level 20 and to do the hardest content and stuff like this. And that was quite a challenge in there, yes. But this seems to be the closest equivalent they might have to something like that in LOTRO, even though it is a complete different thing here, where it's like because I'm almost thinking of like one of those battle royale tournaments that you would have in the Middle Ages, where you would have these mock battles being fought. If you ever read The Knight's Tale, you'll know what I mean on that.
Tournaments?
Yeah, tournaments.
Jousting and all of that.
Well, yeah.
Well, they won't be jousting, but yeah, it's...
Yeah, I was talking about the large-scale thing, but usually the tournaments also feature the large-scale battle, plus, of course, there will also be the jousting there and stuff like that. All right, so that is the Challenge League. Anything else on Challenge League before we go on?
Just a comment that it's Elladan and Elro here.
Yeah.
And if being in an instance with these two is any indication, they are suicidal, and it's like, so which one's the better leader? Can we have another choice out of like a third one? Because I don't think either one of those are a good choice there. I don't even know why they're prideful.
No, see, Calabathian went the same place I did when I read this letter. I'm like, what?
Yeah, there is that.
Would you A or B? C, none of the above.
It was, they're doing what now? But okay, we'll go with it. Just suspension of disbelief.
Yes.
I mean, apparently they're assembling groups of heroes to keep who, for whatever reason, haven't figured out that they're just both intent on dying. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or maybe they're perfect for this because they are so suicidal. So you sign up for the one whose path to death seems best? I don't know.
Are you going to support Elro here and die this way, doing deeds? Or are you going to support Elladan and die facing, other people? Either way, it's death.
Yes. I was just thinking is maybe this is why Elladan and Elro here were the ones to bring the message to Aragorn relating to the paths of the dead.
Because Elrond wanted to get him the heck out of the troll shows?
Yes. Yeah.
It can't be any worse than what they keep doing at the Ford. Let's send them south to the paths of the dead.
Yeah.
At least if they do die, they're near the paths of the dead. It's like home away from home.
Yeah. I'm still trying to figure out how those two managed to get through the Battle of Pelennor Fields without a scratch.
Well, they had rangers with them.
Well, all right. There is that. The Rangers have died for them. Okay.
Pretty much.
Next, then. Also this summer, we are inviting you to one of Middle-earth's most historic moments, the wedding of Aragorn and Arwen. I know Terry Adwin is already crying, yes. For different reasons, yes.
I knew it was going to happen, and I'm happy for Aragorn. I just don't want to collect flowers for her.
Okay. We'll try to avoid flower quests then. Yes. Prestigious guests have traveled vast distances to bless the new king, and there's a need for people to support the celebration.
In other words, we have to pick flowers.
Yes.
We're going to have to make the wedding cake too.
We'll see. Well, next sentence, yes. Additionally, artisans are hard at work creating their finest goods and fashions for the wedding, including wedding cakes, I guess. And guests can expect to look their best for the event. In addition,
yay! New cosmetics, which we'll have to look down to.
Does that mean I'm going to? That means the next level recipe I'm getting is a wedding cake. For cooks.
I would love a wedding cake recipe. That would be great for the RPers.
Yes. Now the question is that going to be an edible result, or is that going to be a housing item result?
Maybe both. Maybe you get the housing item that is the actual like multi-tiered, and then your food item is the slice of wedding cake.
Yes, that actually makes sense.
And instead of traditional trail food, it could be like a New Hope token.
Well, that's
Sam Burke just said Bridezilla's broadcast from LOTRO this summer.
Yes. Yes. In addition, we are unveiling a new seasonal festival event for Lord of the Rings Online, which commemorates weddings and merriment throughout Middle-earth, featuring a unique festival questing area within Minas Tirith, where you do things probably like collect flowers, I guess.
But this also sounds really cool, because festival areas of Minas Tirith means that you will finally have a stable mount for low-level characters to get there without using Mithril.
Ooh, you do.
So you can take all your lobies to Minas Tirith for photo ops without spending a fortune.
Well, the question is, and it'll probably be an instance prettied up version of Minas Tirith instead of one that's all
right. So it'll be like version number, I don't know, what are we on now? 11?
Who knows? There'll be so many copies of Minas Tirith by the time they finish this. Thus, the wedding will finally be coming up. And anyone here have anything to say on this, or have we already spoken it as I was going through the paragraph?
I'm just wondering what kind of cosmetics we're going to have.
Well, I'm sure
wedding guest ones, obviously.
Yes.
Well, yes, but are we talking like top hat and tails, like, or what? Lots of white flowers and pretty dresses, or are they going to go colors? I mean,
well, we'll need pretty dresses in order.
Well, obviously, you've got pretty dresses for the people who are going to wear dresses, and you've got to have the other option for people who are not wearing dresses.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Robes,
and then
robes are good.
Shirts and tunics.
Fancy tunics.
Yeah, fancy tunics.
I don't know, maybe some pretty armor if somebody wants to look like a wedding guard.
Right.
So I mean, it's not like we have a dearth of options of fancy armor as it is, but we can always use more fancy armor.
It could be It could be more dress uniform type armor as opposed
Yes.
to serious battlefield armor.
Yes.
Oh, and here's another. What about since it's a seasonal event? All of our other seasonal events have stuff like mounts. You think this one's going to have mounts? New ones?
Maybe, but probably not. I can't imagine having. Well, I mean, I could see having horses because Minas Tirith, you kind of really want a horse to get around. But I don't know that they're going to let lots of people have horses in Minas Tirith because you really don't want to outshine the wedding party, which is probably going to be on very stately mounts, and they're not going to give those mounts to players. Alas, I'm still waiting for my Swan Knight steed. We got a close approximation in the anniversary festival, but it is not the same.
Oh, there's in the chat wedding cake themed comparison.
Yes.
Maybe not a mount, but the horse decorations.
There you go.
All right. That will do. Or, of course, there is another possibility, and that is that the main wedding party will have a very elegant and spruced up version, and that there might be a tamer version of this for some of the lesser guests, and this might be one that you could earn
By picking
through the
flowers.
festival.
By picking flowers.
By picking flowers, most likely, yes.
There won't be a flower for miles within Minas Tirith when this is done. What happened to all the flowers?
Ithilien is completely flowerless. Oh boy. We shall find out in a few months, I guess. So that's what we have for the summertime. And in the fall, we will see a new type of mega update, the War of the Three Peaks, which will provide new content for characters of all levels. Durin's Line begins war with the orcs as they prepare to advance to Gundabad. This update continues the Legacy of Durin storyline, but also includes other endgame content. This update will also open up a new area on the front lines of the war that will allow any character, regardless of level, to come to Durin's aid. While open, players will complete missions, earn favor with both Durin's Line and Dwarf Artisans and Smiths, and support the war effort. So this is a temporary event then?
Yeah, because I noticed that while open.
Yes.
Yeah, so temporarily. But and the thing for completing missions and earning favor of Durin's Line and Artisan Smiths sounds like the stuff that they did in the Wastes, where you were collecting the various crafting goods to support the war effort.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So most likely it's going to be something like that.
No, not limited to level cap. Anybody can come gather stuff.
Anyone can gather stuff, yes.
Can I just say, every time I hear the name Gundabad, I flash back to Ace Ventura. Gundabad, he exclaimed with great relish. Sorry.
Oh, Sam has a suggestion concerning the wedding, that we have an instance where you try to protect the wedding dinner from Merry and Pippin.
Or the other hobbits that come. I don't know how many other hobbits they invited.
Well, it says you have to slap them until the times run out.
Well, I suspect that there won't be too many, because they didn't have hobbits from the Shire coming there, because the hobbits of the Shire were too busy with other problems at the time.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe it would be Merry and Pippin then.
Merry and Pippin, well, you do have Frodo and Sam there also, but I have a feeling that they're less likely to get into trouble in certain ways.
Unless Merry and Pippin actually get them in trouble.
Well, yes, there is that.
They've had trouble enough already. I'm sure they'll let the younglings take.
Yes. But back to Yes, okay, earning favor then with the dwarves and all that stuff. We'll have to see exactly what that is, but yes, one of those special events there. And this year, we will be adding a new premium housing area to the game in Rohan. I think we already discussed this particular one because Rohan housing is divided into 2 new housing neighborhoods, both located in West Rohan. Rohan housing also brings with it some new features such as stable hooks and custom lighting hooks.
So excited for stable hooks.
Yeah, maybe when they open up Bulwer, we could have a look at we'll see if they have the stable hooks in there yet, because they did have the custom lighting hooks when they had it up during the previous update, where they had everything going on there. And let's see and Druid's Fire did go through all of that when that was open. They didn't realize it was open though when they opened up Bulwer that time. But people are all taking a look at, and the neighborhoods already exist in the world. It's just that you can't get into them yet. Because you can see them from Edoras.
When exactly are they thinking of opening them in the fall? Do we have, or is it fall, spring? I mean, not spring, but summer.
We're guessing whenever they open the Helm's Deep update on the Legendary servers, which is summer?
That would be my guess. I would say about June. I will say they'll be coming out around the same time as the wedding update. Will be my guess. We'll have the wedding update, the next step in the Legendary server, and the housing coming in all together.
That'll be a pretty big update.
Well, yes. Well, they at least already have the assets for the housing in there, since it's already there. It's just that the NPCs, well, I don't know if the NPCs are there or not, because it's closed because the
You can
doors are
talk
shut.
to the stable masters. The stable masters are in place. You could go talk to them and open it up, but you can't get into the neighborhood.
Right.
I might have went down there and poked around when somebody said that they were actually in live to see what was going on.
Yeah.
Just because I was curious,
Just curious there. And this fall, we will also be seeing a new Legendary server. We're looking forward to adding new challenges and gameplay experiences for the new server. In our current vision of the server, note he says current vision, which means things could change. Your mileage may vary. Sauron will play a more active role in punishing heroes who defy his will. At times during play, the Eye of Sauron will open, inspiring all the evil in the world to rally and rise to his dark challenge. These enemies will become far more dangerous during this time. However, when the eye is open, your character will rise to the challenge and deliver greatly increased damage in defiance of the Dark Lord. Beware, when the Eye of Sauron is open. We intend to keep the current Legendary experience going in 2020 as well, and we'll continue to open up new content on those servers. Now, this Eye of Sauron, sounds like it's like turning everyone into a glass cannon.
I think it sounds really cool. This might actually be the Legendary server that I play on.
Welcome to the hunter's world.
Kill it before it reaches you.
Like, if I can be super OP as a champion on this server, that would be awesome.
But
we can already hear some of what the champion does, like halfway across the map. Okay, so
but it's not. Yeah, it sounds more impressive than it actually is, though.
Well,
I guess when the eye opens, then it will definitely become impressive. Then it'll sound
Right?
and be impressive.
He'll see these champions going through his minions like they were wheat. And finally, we'll round out the year with an update to the Yuletide Festival with new quests, activities, and rewards. We're excited for the new year, and we appreciate you taking the journey with us.
So are they going to be doing that for all the festivals after the Yuletide? Is actually like next year adding more quests and activities to all of them? Or is this just the start with the Yuletide one? Or is this like the end version?
Well, I don't think that they're planning on doing this to all of the festivals. I
Well,
think
they've
very
kind of already
honestly,
added more quests. I mean, they added more quests to Springfest already. They've added
Right.
more quests to Summer Festival, and we saw more stuff added to Fall when
right.
they added in the Harvest Maze. So Yule is actually the last of them to get extra quests, which is it's lovely to see because as much as I like the Yule Festival, there's only so many times I can watch that play.
Yeah, there is that. Maybe they have different variations of the play.
Oh, that
That
would
would
be
be
cool.
so cool.
I'm still waiting for the version of the play that they reference that doesn't actually take place.
Oh, you mean the old Blood Tusk? Yeah, we would like to see someday that they do the ode of old Blood Tusk.
Yeah.
Especially now that old Blood Tusk is back in the game. And that's it for that. So let's finally get on to something else. Next week, Cordovan said, we want to give an update on game performance. We have been looking into an uptick in game performance issue in recent weeks and have identified an optimization in our physics engine that we believe will have a positive impact. To that end, we are working to get a small patch out next week that will include this improvement. We can only hope it does something effective,
Oh
right?
my god, I hope it works.
Well, now he
Yes.
said it was not going to be a silver bullet on Court of the Rings this past Friday. Everybody
Yes,
should go and watch that if you're curious about what he had to say.
Any improvement would be an improvement at this point.
Yes, that is true. It's sort of these little things, we are pushing the servers to the limit, and because I'm sure a lot of people are in, they said, well, we're free till the 30th.
Well, and there's a lot more people that have extra time on their hands.
Yes, there is
Yes.
that. Let's then head to the LOTRO Beacon issue 155, and that's a big bug.
Scrappy Gooch Red Big. I'm guessing
And
it's
it's glowy.
One of those
It's
big
glowy.
spitters.
I'm wondering if that's one of the raid bosses.
Well, yes, one of the raid bosses is supposed to be a really big insect, so this looks like it could qualify.
So glowy.
So glowy, yes. Community Spotlight. Northern Pride recently performed Fight COVID concert on Evernight, and you could click to watch the video. And LOTRO Vogue has put out a new outfit, Far Away from Home.
I love the what they have in the banner on their site. You know, it says LOTRO Vogue. If you can't slay them with skills, slay.
Yeah.
Yes, slay them with looks, yes. Well, you do have that. And there you go there with Jake, you see some stuff from it looks like the items in here are from all over the place.
Which is good. You should always have items from all over the place in your cosmetics.
All right, and
Yeah, I actually quite approve of the mix and match because even though it's mix and match, it doesn't look mix and match. It looks like it was all put together.
yeah, that's how you tell the cosmetic artist.
Yes.
Then the Hope. Yeah, all right, no, we already had that. Yes, they presented today on Landerville. And let's see, Polnoluni present their concert When Spring Comes. Also, that was today on Laurelin. So a couple of concerts that you've already missed. Maybe there'll be some details on how to see it afterwards if you click on the link. As for the Kin Hall, Mirage is an in-game progression rating kinship on Honor, recruiting players. The kinship raised throughout the week with both US and European rating times. If interested, contact Ribbon Buffs, Kelrad, and Anissa in-game. So let's go into the weekly comment. What's your favorite pet in-game?
I saw this question earlier and I was like, oh, this is a good question.
The baby moo, hands down.
That'll probably be Sansa's answer also.
I really like the baby Mumak too. Except
So
it
many
seems
pets.
big enough to ride, and I can't ride it, which
So
is kind
little
of sad.
time.
Yeah, that's the thing. They're just so mean because I've got a full menagerie of cosmetic pets.
I know. I have a tendency to collect cosmetic pets depending on the character. So Terry Adwin's favorite pet is her Swan Knight. Hey, he's a cosmetic pet. His name is Imra Almost. Because he looks like Imrahil. Sarissa's kind of depends on her mood. She's got the giant shrew, which she doesn't run with very often anymore because the dwarf in the company that she named him after doesn't play anymore. But she named him Bigger Than Zig because he was bigger than the dwarf. Also, I have to give a kudos to the collection of foxes. Not so much because they're foxes and they're cute, but because by collecting all four of them, you get the title The Sly and Cunning, which is awesome. Best burglar title ever. And actually her favorite pet to run with these days is the hedgehog, which she named Caltrops.
Anyone else have any preferences?
When I get there, I'm going to have my my little Hobbit mini Glompla. She's definitely going to get the distant cousin Hobbit pet that you get from through Bingo.
Yeah,
because that seems kind of up there. But I don't have a lot of pets, so I can't really say one way or the other.
You got Gohira.
Well, yeah, I've got Legs, and I've got with a Z.
Buck.
And then I've got Buck, because he's a kind of a mole rat and he's naked, so he's buck naked. And then Gohira, the wormling, Lingris wormling. So yes, those three we've got right now.
Then when I'm thinking of, the first thing that came into my mind is a slightly different direction as you went, was Grass, the bog guardian for my lore master. So this is actually not a cosmetic pet, but a combat pet. And that's probably the pet of any type that I most consistently run with, unless you want to count Flax, my skirmish soldier.
My Bjornine has a hedgehog, and in the spirit of the intro where it was when you're in bear form, it's like annoying insect or something like that. It's just called Ouch.
My high elf guardian, high elf captain, named her captain pet. The herald. She named him Hamster because he's human.
Oh, that's cruel.
It's true.
Hello there, Hamster. Let's then head to the fan site news. Last week we left no creep behind. And the first annual Rosalie Day took place recently on Crick Hollow to honor the longtime music community member. And you can click to read about that. And LOTRO Stream is a great place to find LOTRO streamers on Twitch this week. Druid's Fire does epic questing on Ithil. Uger adventures on Langeable, and Red Baron runs low-level quests. Also on Twitch, the Token Professor explains why Boromir doesn't get it. Saruko runs T3 Remerhant, and Winnie's Musings chases virtues. And over on YouTube, Andang gets a pig. Carrick Avalron Gaming gets a novice mark, and Don't Panic brings a Russian language stream. Let's head into our screenshot of the week, where Auburn calls the eagle in this week's screenshot. Thanks to Auburn for emailing this. You can send your screenshots to contact@settingstonegames.com. And this is on Mount Doom in the epic storyline, late in the epic storyline. Then anything else? No, that is it for the Beacon this week. So let's head into our store sales. Terry Adwin, what's on sale this week?
Not really anything good.
Oh,
no, it's really not. But don't forget about the sleeping pig. Did you mention the sleeping pig? We talked about it last week, but don't forget, if you have not already gotten your sleeping pig, you can get a sleeping pig.
Your snoring sleeping pig.
Snoring sleeping pig housing item. It is awesome. With the coupon code sleeping pig, it's pig in a blanket. It's really cute.
up to 10.
And it's 10 per account.
Up to 10 per account, so you can have them on multiple servers, which is really, really cool. The weekly coupon gets you a free battle potion of restoration with coupon code BATREST now through April 16th if you don't get enough of them that you're already not using through Hobbit Presents. I have a stockpile that I don't use. You can also get 20% off stat tomes, regeneration food, run speed boosts, and attack damage boosts, all of which also drop in the Hobbit Presents now through April 16th.
Now through April 16th. Whee!
And those battle potions are really good, especially because you can use them in combat now. So,
Oh, nice.
yeah, helpful.
All right. It says
The healer says they are helpful.
they are helpful. Then let's head into our new player question. And what's the question this week?
The question is, for those of us who don't know or who were only recently made aware, how do you start the Bingo Boffin questline? Where is Bingo when you first start out?
In that case, we have, you should receive a letter when you, do you receive that when you first get into the main world, or is it when you get level 5?
When
So
you
you
get
first
in
get
the main
into the
world.
main world.
Yeah, just about the first piece of mail that you receive is Bingo Boffin needs your help.
Mhm.
And that tells you to see Bingo Boffin at his house in Mickle Delving, and that is pretty close to the area where the town hall is. It's down in that area.
It's just north of Town Hall.
Yeah, just north of Town Hall.
Conveniently located near the Bird and Baby.
Just across the road.
Yeah. So you can see Bingo's little neighborhood in there, and you'll see a quest ring in that vicinity, and that's where you go. And so that would be the Ballad of Bingo Boffin. It starts out at a pretty low level and eventually escalates because you keep on traveling all throughout Middle Earth, and eventually it caps up at about level 93 because you have to eventually go into Rohan. Does that answer your question?
It does, thank you.
Very well. Then let's into our weekend Lotro. And Guarendis, what were you up to?
Well, I wish to solemnly apologize to you, Pine Leaf. Last Sunday, I skirmished irresponsibly with the girls of Middle Earth. To the great amusement, I'm sure, of the people who are watching it and in the chat. It did lead to some remedial crafting later because we discovered that there was some gear that really needed updated. And that also kind of led Guer to clearing out all the roving threats in the Misty Mountains, but not on the girls' characters, of course.
Okay.
The Yellow Line Hunters went into Nanwathran and met up with a level 23 Red Line Hunter that was about 6 levels below them and probably totally blew their mind, blowing up a whole bunch of stuff, which was a lot of fun. And Friday night, my level 50 Hobbit Hunter got the Hunter Port in Aragian by racing around, tagging all of the ruins and beast dens and such, just to make sure that we could get back and forth very quickly, and still hasn't got her second LI, her hand weapon. So hopefully
Minor detours.
Yes, we will have to
details.
Get that to...
So Arendis, what did you?
I had a question for you first. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes, when you said that. So did all the girls skirmish irresponsibly, or just you?
There were 4 of us, and in my only defense is I just took whatever was selected and traveled with everybody because it's fellow feeling. You know, I didn't really look to see what level we actually were at the time.
Ran it
what we were running.
Just above the lowest level in our group, quite a bit under our level, and there were 4 of us, and we were all burglars, which was the main problem.
Cinsmunda will tell us more about that later, though, I'm sure.
Okay. Carry on, then.
Should I... Calabathian, are you back?
Yes, I'm back.
Although we did change the order. Why don't I go ahead and go to Arendis? She'll tell us what's going on this week with her.
Okay.
Sounds good. So I started the bingo quest line on one of my lower level Bjornings, hence the question for this week. Lots and lots of running back and forth, way more than I expected, but interesting so far. Due to the sale last week, I also was able to get possibly more than one Aria of the Valar and get a couple of characters to 120, which was kind of fun. Also ran through the 6-man version of the Lost Temple instance at 120, which was with some friends, which is why I wanted to take advantage of that sale as well. So I also brought out the baby Worgian and tried munching on some more hobbits. So I'm still enjoying creeping there.
It's fun.
So, Calabathian, how was your week?
Well, speaking of munching on hobbits, munch. My warg, Killian, ran with, I think your baby warg, and some other tribe members, so we can bite things viciously and with great relish. Especially hobbits, because they're delicious. And that was fun. What was not fun was, running into, the fruits. But not as many on that server that evening as there has been in the past. And I think at one point there were like 16 of us and like 7 of them, so it was almost a fair fight. And Celeborn, I valored him up at the end of last week to 105, and as a result, he got all the things. But the epic quest line was not one of them, so I'm having to go back and kind of try to catch up to where I had started or left off in the epic quest line when we were adventuring. And So he did that from Carn Doom to Forest Hill, and I'm in Forest Hill right now, finishing that bit out. But Carn Doom, if anybody has been in this and done this, you know that Lorniel, when we're at one point, she can't open a gate because the key doesn't work. I don't know why the key doesn't work, she says. And then she tells you, go around and unlock it because there's a lever, on the other side. We can do that. And so you do. And she comes through the gate. And it's like, but if I could literally walk around... How are you keeping these rangers alive, Lorniel? Because what are you doing?
Why couldn't she?
Why could we not walk around and just completely bypass the gate altogether? We can.
Once again, Telebathian, you're confusing the matters with logic.
It's not like I went over a wall or anything, I mean, I literally just went right around the corner.
You went through a side passage, and yeah.
Yeah, and then we continued on as if there was no side passage. And of course, Morkindir, my baby Berg, ran around slapping and mocking dwarves for the Ale Association. Good times, making dwarves cry. It was fun. I look forward to continuing my abuse of these dwarves in the future.
Yeah, Sarissa may have shared the how to
make
a dwarf cry in 3 easy lessons.
Yes. So Sans, how about you? What was your week like?
Well, my week started with a burglar run on girls. There were 4 of us. We had a 38, a 42, and 2 level 46 burglars. And we wanted to level up the level 38. She might have been 37 starting out. We wanted to level her up to 39 so that she could get the quest we wanted to do. So we thought, what better way than a quick skirmish? We don't have to all be in the same place or have the same quests. We'll just run a skirmish. I know 4 is not the ideal number for a skirmish, Pineleaf.
Yes, I know.
But it goes so well on the field trips, I didn't think this was going to be that much of a problem. So I picked Trouble in Techborough and launched it at level 40, which was well below 3 members of the group's levels, and within the range of the lowest level member who we were trying to level up.
Right. And this is Tuckborough, one of the tougher ones from
I have no idea what's toughest. I just knew we wanted to do a skirmish. And I didn't know how Berg's in Stormon Methodist would do, so I decided to try Tuckborough. Besides, we should all be Tuckborough troublemakers, so, because we're Hobbit burglars. So, we go in, we pull out our skirmish soldiers. First we topped off our skirmish soldiers as well as we could with the marks we had. Then we went in and stealthed up like good burglars and charged up the hill into the fray as though we thought we were champions in stealth.
Knives out!
Knives out! Full gung-ho. We had a blast, and then we had people running back for the rest of the skirmish. We finally got to almost the courtyard, and I realized that fellowship maneuvers kept popping, and that we could make them pop intentionally. And then I remembered...
Right? You got that skill!
And then I remembered that we had things like Riddle and Stun Dust and a few other skills at our disposal that if we used them strategically, we could all gang up on one enemy at a time and stop pretending to be champions and maybe get further. So we ended the skirmish remembering that we were burglars, and it went pretty well. But up until that point, there was much dying and running back in from the baby burglars who did not remember that they were burglars and not champions. So
I hope Pineleaf is face palming as much as I am right now.
Well, and at one point I saw a message on the screen, a bounder died. I was like, no, who pulled that, who got that flag? And Cinders was like, it was glowing, but that's not the first one who died. And I was like, oh, this is a disaster. Oh.
Poor bounders.
The poor bounders. They still wanted to name a pie after us. I'm not sure why.
You mean the surviving ones?
The surviving ones. But I felt very bad about that. And we did not achieve the level up we had been hoping for either. So, remembering that we were burglars, we turned to more burglarious tasks and went questing and got the level up. But that was the tell of how we remembered that no, hobbits cannot be champions. Yes, we were burglars, and we should probably use crowd control to our advantage.
Yeah.
So yes, that is the tale of how 4 burglars skirmished irresponsibly on accident. And then afterwards, when we discovered that some of the gear was, especially on one of the hobbits who kept dying and running back in, was 20 levels under where it should have been, we had remedial crafting. So we had a crafting party this week, and while I was hunting Skarn for the crafting party, I kept running into roving threats. And fortunately, I was on my level 130 character, so running into them didn't do anything except go, oh, hey, look, there's my friend. So I marked them on the roving threat map as I found them, and took the girls of Middle-earth who had skirmished irresponsibly accidentally on Sunday on a very responsible roving threat hunt. And we totally took out the roving threats in 4Kill on our high-level characters. So, that was pretty cool. And my mini killed all the Scourges in Minas Morgul with the help of the awesome Guardian and Runekeeper she was running with. I mean, there was one instance where this one random person ran up with, like, the whole area chasing them and dumped it in the middle of our fight, so I don't count them as helping us. But we survived it, we took out all the ads, and kept that person alive while fighting the Scourge. So I think we did extra, actually, on that Scourge. And then the person aggroed a bunch more and dumped them on us again. We're like, yep, we're out of here. But yeah. That was really fun to use our skills to take them out without any of us dying. So, how was your week, Terry?
Well,
P.S. We missed you on girls. We could have used some strategy. Go ahead.
Yeah, you could have used some strategy. You realize that I would have been yelling at you.
You would have prevented the tragedy because you would have thought about it.
I would have prevented the tragedy because I would have explained burglar skills prior to going in so that everybody was reminded beforehand that no, burglars are not champions. Speaking of champions, my champion attempted to play some more in Minas Morgul, but unfortunately the lag made the game virtually unplayable for me in Minas Morgul. I don't know if it was the abundance of players plus server stuff plus the glow that is ever present in Minas Morgul, but when I can't get my skills off because the lag is so bad and I've got my graphics turned down to very low and the lag is still really bad, there's a problem. We did play long enough for Terry Adwin to finally learn a secret that the Rangers were totally unaware of, possibly because the person was smart enough not to tell them because they're terrible at keeping secrets. Like, this person figured out that Rangers are really bad at keeping secrets and just didn't bother telling them in the first place. And for whatever reason, they just took the person at face value. So they're still completely unaware of what I actually don't think is... I mean, the person's actual identity came as a surprise to me. Like, I did not see that coming. But the the other part of the reveal was not a surprise.
Right?
Because voiceovers. But the person that you're talking to sounds like a woman. You should really probably be suspicious of the quest text telling you that this person is a man. And I don't know how they haven't figured that out, but okay.
Yeah.
The Rangers don't listen very much to anything besides the sound of the campfire.
Obviously. Yeah, obviously. They're just really not that perceptive, which is probably the other reason why they don't realize that secrets just aren't that secret to begin with. Weirdly, the Moors on Arkenstone were not nearly as laggy, because on the same evening that I was not able to continue in Minas Morgul because the lag was so bad, I flipped over to Arkenstone and went working, and some tasty noms were had, and I have less than 15% of the way to go to rank 8 now, and
Nice.
I'm so excited. Yeah. And again, it's way more relaxing when I'm not responsible for the other people that are with me. Like, we'll run together in a group and we share the noms, but I am not responsible for trying to keep you alive. And I think I only died once, if that, when we were out, because I did a lot better at staying away from potentially deadly threats. And then I dusted off my Valord LM that I haven't played in, I don't know, months and months and months, to run along with Celeborn, and we were playing as Tourist of Eriador, helping him catch up, because she was playing Tourist of Eriador anyway.
Mm-hmm.
She basically was the character that I Valord back when I first... Actually, no, she was my second Valord character. But I Valord her from level 50-ish up to 105, and then took her back to finish out book 1, or Volume 1, Volume 2, started Volume 3. She's only in Book 4 of Volume 3. So she was traveling around with Celeborn, and they were just chatting and sightseeing and going through the revisiting Eriador. Eriador's Greatest Hits, that's what it was. Revisiting Eriador's Greatest Hits to round up the Grey Company so that they can do their thing. At which point I decided the other champion needed to do more crafting, so he went on a cooking run. But yeah, that was my week. How about you, Pineleaf?
I will begin with my Stout Axe, who finished up the Moria Epic line up to the points of the skirmishes, so not finished the entire Epic line, but I got to the point where I ran all the skirmishes. And that was my primary Moria goal for this character, because I am going to, at the end of this month, I'm going to be RAing this character, because this is the character that is going to be heading into Mordor. I think I already mentioned that the plan is to go into Mordor starting in May for this character. So I'm going to be doing a couple of little extra things. I think the main thing that I'm going to be doing for the rest of this month with the character is to aria up the character and try to see what I can do in order to get ready for Mordor. That's sort of what I have in stock for the character now. Then for my Honor Warden, I completed my questing in the Norcrofts. And while I was doing the Norcrofts, I decided to compare how fast I could kill a mounted mob, both while mounted and while on foot.
It's faster on foot, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep.
I didn't even have to read your show notes for that. I'm just, because I'm actually down at the bottom where the titles are. Yeah. Pretty much every class can kill things faster on foot than on horse.
Well, the biggest thing with some classes, because if you're in a melee class, you may have trouble hitting the mob if you're on foot.
Depends on the mob.
Yeah, it depends on the mob.
Some mounted
using a comparison, with
some mounted ones will actually stay there and get into a fight with you, even though you have dismounted and are just whacking them.
Yes, but I considered that comparison to be relatively unfair. I meant the ones, and I'm talking about the ones who are running away and doing these big loops and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, those ones are annoying. They're annoying even on horseback.
Yeah,
because they ride through 6 other mobs.
That's why it's so annoying on force, because you could do a /follow on them. You could stay on their back. The problem is, of course, as you're saying, is then they would run through 6 other mobs, and
then you've got 6 other mobs.
Yes, which is the main reason why I've decided to stay on foot. So yes, doing much better on foot. Now, after doing this, right after last week's show, you asked me the question on what about my name, on whether or not I have my surname back yet, and the answer is no. My honor warden still cannot get the Needle's name. So yes, that's sort of a bit of a downer there, that I still can't be Pine Leaf Needles on honor because the name is still filtered out. Then, on my burglar, I completed the Bingo Boffin storyline, and at least for the time being, I'll be retiring that character, because I created that character originally for doing Bingo Boffin, and I have completed it. And it'll take a little bit of rest there. And I'm not too sure I really want to take this character into Mordor. I don't think I need a second burglar to go through Mordor, especially since this one probably would be solo if I did. We currently have 13 supporters on Patreon, and if you'd like to join this illustrious rate of players and help support LOTRO players, simply go to the donations page. You can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. Your money will be used for our podcast hosting, website hosting, and to pay for our live shows. If you would like to make a direct contribution, you could send that to Draculetta at email drac@lotraplayers.com. And that is it for tonight. We have no emails, but if you'd like to send fun, you can send it to the podcast at LOTROplayers.com. You can also post on Twitter, the Players Alliance at Players Ally, LOTRO Players at LOTRO Players, Arendis at Arendis, Piney at Piney Needles, Senswinda at Senswinda, Terry Adwin at Terry Adwin, Guarendis at Knittershell, and Calabathian at Calabathian. The Players Alliance has 2 shows on Mondays at 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. We have DDO Players News, and on Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have LOTRO Players News. You can join for our shows at LOTROplayers.com/live. And that is all for tonight, and this is Pine Needles reminding you to socialize responsibly.